oh, I know what they're saying. This team's going to go on a run because they haven't gone on that run. So I think that's what's frustrated the fan base is, look, everyone thinks they're good, and they haven't been.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. It's a special bonus show, and with me, as usual, we have my co-host Brian McKeon. Brian, who else do we have with us?
Stacey, we've got WFAN and my good friend Emmanuel Berbari on the show today. Emmanuel, what's going on?
Not much, guys. Thanks for having me. It's good to be back. I remember the last time we talked in the offseason, so it's good to have a check-in at a very important time of the season.
Oh, that's for sure. I wanted to have you on for a specific reason because you're around the team. You're in the clubhouse. You're really, for the first time in your career, really experiencing it full on. I know you worked with the team last year, but this is like your first full-on 162 involved with the team year. And I know you follow the team. I know you grew up a fan of the team. So you're aware of the swoons that have happened over the last 8 years that Boone's been managing this team. And I think it's safe to say this is the worst one we've seen or the most extended one that we've seen. I want to know before anything, and we'll get into the nitty-gritty and stuff. Since this is the worst swoon, what is the overall vibe in the clubhouse around the actual roster and team players?
Great question, and I would agree with you. It is the most extended, if you're going to call it a swoon, whatever you want to label it. There was a 51-game stretch before the Twins series where they went 20-31. That's a long period of time. That's 1/3 of a baseball season where the Yankees played like the worst team in the American League, record-wise. And the clubhouse vibe, yeah, there are certain losses, the crushing losses. Let's call it a Devin Williams game where you walk in there, and I'll talk with Susan every day on the postgame show. And some days it's really quiet, and clearly the team is feeling, man, that's a game we should have had, and it slipped away from us. So there are losses like that where it's clearly weighing on them, and Aaron Boone has spoken to that recently. He's been very honest about it weighing on them. But there's also been a sense for most of this season where the leadership, the guys at the top on this team, feel like they're much better than they've actually been. And that's a 51-game stretch where they're 20-31, but they know that the talent exists in that room, so they think it's going to snap at some point. They're going to rattle off 11 out of 13. And I think they're not necessarily wrong to think that. It just hasn't happened yet. So we don't have the evidence to say, oh, I know what they're saying. This team's going to go on a run, because they haven't gone on that run. So I think that's what's frustrated the fan base is, look, everyone thinks they're good, and they haven't been. So it's sort of a mixed vibe. Some losses, you can sense it's weighing on them. But other days when you show up at the ballpark, it's like this team knows they're good, and they feel like they're going to snap out of it.
You spoke about the leaders in the clubhouse. Who are the vocal leaders in the clubhouse? And do they have guys who are especially vocal while they're going through this?
Yeah, great question. I think you look at the pedigree type of names in that room. When Giancarlo Stanton speaks, everybody listens. Now, it doesn't happen all the time, but when Stanton speaks, everybody listens. It has a profound impact on the team and how they think. Aaron Judge is clearly the captain. He takes care of something when it needs to be taken care of, but it's going to happen behind closed doors. We're not going to hear about it. That's why when I find it funny when people say that, oh, why is Judge saying everything's going to be fine? He's not going to say that front facing. He's not going to say he called out a player behind closed doors and tell that to the public, to the world. So Aaron Judge will handle all that behind closed doors. Cody Bellinger has been a welcome addition to the team. He's a great leader. Paul Goldschmidt, I think, is sort of a lead by example guy. Like, he'll speak, but the way he goes about his business and the fact that this future Hall of Famer at 37 years old is struggling at the plate, and he's out there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon every day. It's all we've seen for the last 3 weeks, and he's working at his craft, and the way he goes about his business defensively on top of the offense. I think Goldschmidt is a leader. So it's the guys you can sort of expect, right? The former MVPs in that room who know how to lay down the law when it's necessary. And then also you have Fried and Cole. Cole's hurt, but when Cole speaks, the pitchers are going to listen. And Fried has had a real impact on some of the younger pitchers on the staff. So the guys you would expect, I don't think it's creative in the answer there.
One thing I want to touch on, but before I get to my next question, just a quick answer from you here. I do think there is an actual case to be made that even though Aaron Judge could still win the AL MVP, Cody Bellinger has been the best Yankee this year on the roster. He's excellent in the field. He's an excellent batter. Like, everything about this guy's game, I think Yankee fans have kind of been enlightened. And this might be the best year of his career overall, to be honest with you. Like, that's how good Cody Bellinger has been for the Yankees. Would you prioritize him in the offseason if you're the Yankees?
Absolutely. I think this
He's going to get paid, though.
You'll have to pay him, and
Yeah.
rightfully so. Good for Cody Bellinger. He's working his way into that contract that you look at his last few years when he had those traded or 1 year or walk year, and then it didn't necessarily tilt in his favor in terms of the market. Good for him. He's about to cash out in a big time way, and I think the Yankees have to do it. He's a perfect Yankee. He fits his team. He plays 3 outfield positions at a marquee level and first base. So if you sign him, theoretically, you could have first base solved if you want it to be that way.
I think they're going to get a little stagnant with that, just because he's going to get 30 plus easily, and he might get more. Might get more towards mid 30s like that. He's going to get really paid. So I'm afraid that they're going to be a little more push offish when it comes to that. I hope they sign him though. They need him back.
But sometimes there's a fit and you just know it. And I think Cody Bellinger is that fit. So they have to prioritize him. And I think they know it. And there is some money coming off the books, like not necessarily right away, but end of next year, you're going to have some big time money coming off the books. And the Yankees are going to be in a position to reset in terms of a payroll standpoint. So I don't think Bellinger is going to necessarily handicap you in terms of what you can do elsewhere. I'd be curious, though, what does the outfield look like next year? And it's looking way too far ahead with the stretch run still in front of us, but you have Grisham and Bellinger free agents. You have Jason Dominguez, and what does his future entail? Spencer Jones knocking on the door. So they're going to have some decisions to make.
Yeah, and Trent Grisham has certainly got himself a payday too this offseason, right. So we'll see what happens there. I got to ask you this, and this is actually a question that I'm going to ask without knowing whether or not you have an answer for, but I know you'll have an opinion attached to it anyway, so feel free to answer it whichever way you want to. I think it's become clearly evident that Boone's worst trade as a manager, and there's a couple that are really bad. His worst trade is the bullpen. And it's been evident this year, he can't manage the bullpen. And it specifically goes off last night's game. I don't care what anyone says. I know it's the Minnesota Twins. Last night was a must-win game. It was. With the way they can't afford to win series at this point, they dug themselves too much of a hole. They got to win baseball games. And bringing in Yerry De Los Santos, when the bullpen was fully rested, you had an off day built in on Thursday. They pretty much had an off day the day prior because of the start they got out of Rodon. Not to mention the start before that, Warren gave them almost 7 innings. Yerry De Los Santos in that spot is one of the worst pitching decisions I've seen since Tim Hill in Game 1 of the World Series. I want to know if you know this or if this is aware within the organization. Is that one of those things where it's organizationally determined prior by a bunch of nerds upstairs that, hey, you're going to De Los Santos once Schlittler hits 85 pitches, that's when we're looking to get him out? Or is that just Boone being Boone? Like, I got to, because I don't understand. And to me, the only defense that I could have for it is he's just told beforehand, hey, this is what we're doing in this spot. Not an excuse for it, but that's all I can think. I want to know what you think of this because, first of all, it's the dumbest decision you've ever seen because they gave the game away. They punted the game right there by doing that, making that decision.
So I wouldn't say it's the dumbest decision I've seen, but I would say that Aaron Boone works in concert with the front office. It's not necessarily, okay, it is what you're doing, but recommendations are passed forward every single day. Like, this should be the first guy out of the pen. Whether he follows them is up to him, and he will manage with feel from time to time. What struck me about that situation is you're facing Joe Ryan, one of the best pitchers in baseball. It's a 1-1 game, so you have a chance to win it. Schlittler gives you everything you need to get. And then you're in the 6th inning, you have the heart of the order coming up. So to me, I'm like, how do you keep this game 1-1 for as long as possible? I don't care who closes at the end of the day.
Yeah.
How do you keep this game 1-1 long enough so Stanton could pop a 3-run home run and then the Yankees could win the game 4-1? That's what I'm thinking. And I thought initially, I'm like, why isn't Weaver in here? But I looked into this a little bit further, and the Yankees, part of the reason Weaver has turned his season back around, they've tried to find softer landing spots because they don't feel like his stuff is in a spot where he can get righties out, tough righties out as consistently. Like, there was a stretch when he came off the IL. Remember, Springer owned him in Toronto. Then they started to prioritize him in soft lefty lanes. So moving forward, they were less prone to try him against righties. And one day they had to against Philly, and you had a base hit and a Real Muto home run. So that kind of reconfirmed them. We can't use them in these spots. Now, you could argue, I trust Luke Weaver over Yerry De Los Santos. Sure, I'll hear you on that. But that's the reason you were seeing De Los Santos there. They didn't trust Luke Weaver's ability to go and get Byron Buxton in that spot.
They don't have him up, though. They don't have him in the bullpen warming up. And they don't have Mark Leiter Jr. up in the bullpen. Because Leiter Jr. and Weaver there, I trust more than De Los Santos. Like, go down with the ship. Go down with your best players, right? Like, like, you could not like Aaron Judge against somebody late in the game. You're not going to back Trent Grisham over Aaron Judge because, Grisham's better against the curveball and this. You're not doing that.
You know what?
Go down with your best players.
You know what? And that's a fair counterpoint. I would actually introduce a new layer to this conversation. Remember game 1 of the World Series where you mentioned the Hill and Cortez situation?
Unfortunately,
well documented. Aaron Boone, in hindsight, actually introduced a new layer to that conversation. He said, what if I had kept Luke Weaver in the game for a second inning? The Yankees had taken the lead in extra innings. Luke Weaver was the hottest pitcher in baseball, you could argue, in the postseason last year. Why not? If it means winning a World Series game, why not try to get the extra outs out of Luke Weaver? Who cares about game 2? Just go and get game 1. To me, last night, it was less about Yerry De Los Santos or Luke Weaver. Cam Schlittler, he can't go 100 pitches?
Thank you.
His highest pitch total was 97. He's done that before.
Trust your guy. Honestly, I think Schlittler's in a spot. His floor is so, Boone will call his floor high, where the worst he's going to give you is like 5 innings, 3 runs. And the best he could give you is dominant. So to me, I trust him in that 6th inning.
Yeah. Yeah. We said that on the show, on a Thursday show. Brian said that you have to trust him to at least start that inning. And if he gets into trouble, bring someone in, but don't take him out after just 5 if he's at 86, because we looked at the numbers. It was something like 97, 92, 87. So he has pitched that much, and it just seemed silly for them to take him out.
And these guys get so itchy. They get so itchy to get to the bullpen. Yeah. Once it's past like 80 pitches, they can't help themselves, these managers.
And I get it with this bullpen they've assembled, but especially since Devin Williams isn't in high leverage right now, it's not as deep of a bullpen as it was initially designed to be. If Devin Williams isn't one of your guys, you can't line him up 6, 7, 8, 9 like you want to. You're really looking at Bednar, Weaver, Hill, maybe Doval. That's it. That's your trust tree right there. So I think Schlittler, who said post-game, it was an honest admission, I got to earn my way into the 6th inning. I got to earn my way. To me, he's earned it. To me, in that game, especially when his one jam, he limits it to 1 run. No out situation limits it to 1 run. And then he kind of cruises through the 5th inning. Schlittler's my best shot in that 6th inning. So, yeah, Weaver and De Los Santos, that's a conversation to be had. But Schlittler, I think, has earned his way to trust 3rd time through the order.
Emmanuel Berbari from WFAN is joining us right now. We're going to get to him on the other side of the break to discuss more terrible things the Yankees are doing of late.
Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notifications so you know when our videos go up. You can also join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. The link is in our description. You'll get text from us. You can text us questions, comments, reactions to trades and signings. We send out the lineups during the season, roster moves, and any breaking news so you don't have to check social media. There's a 14-day free trial. Coming up, we have more with Emmanuel Berbari.
Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Let's be honest, some days on the course or off of it, you just need that little extra energy boost to stay sharp and energized. Golf is all about the good times with good people and good flavors, of course. The grape ginger lime flavor gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without chasing down the beverage cart. If you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that's the number 5hourenergy.com, you can use my promo code LOCKEDONGOLF to receive 20% off your order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. Whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion-flavored 5-Hour Energy shots today. All right, so Emmanuel, I would not play Aaron Judge in the field in St. Louis on the weekend series. And I know he was kind of slated to come back there, but with Stanton being able to hold his own out there, and they clearly do trust him because they played him in 3 straight games there, would you agree or no? Would you put him in the outfield? Because to me, you can't risk a longer-term injury for Judge.
You can't, but I also think Judge is going to know when it's truly time to test it out. So we don't truly know. We don't have a specific answer. Is Judge all the way back? He's been progressing well by all accounts with his throwing program, but Judge is going to know better than anybody. I'm of the mindset, don't risk it at all. I'm like, keep Judge DHing and stand in right field as long as you need to, because you literally, the one thing you cannot risk is Judge being out for the rest of the year. And that they very nearly, they dodged that bullet by, graze, by a very small margin. So I'm in no rush, but if Judge thinks he's good to go, he's basically Judge throwing at, let's say, 70% from right field, just hitting the cutoff man. That combined with his range out there and getting to different balls is already going to be an improvement over Stanton. I love the fact, though, Stanton loves playing right field. He's clearly relished it again. And you go back to his splits in recent years, even though he only had a handful of games there in 21 and 22, he rakes when he plays right field. More so than vintage Giancarlo Stanton. He's got like 1,000 OPS when he plays right field. So I'm more intrigued if they just kept him out in right field. Could we see MVP Stanton the rest of the season? Yeah. So I'm in no rush, but Judge is going to say when he's ready, and that'll probably be pretty soon.
Agreed.
Yeah, because Stanton's the type of guy. There are other guys like that. Like, there are some guys who can just DH. They don't need to play the field. They're perfectly fine just hitting at the plate and doing it well. There are a number of guys who have done that. They've made the Hall of Fame. Right. And Stanton seems like the type of guy where he hits fine when he's DHing, but my gosh, he's so much better, because he even said it one time. You feel like you're fully in the game when you're playing the field. When you're DH, you feel like you're waiting for things to happen. You're actually like watching the game when the other guys are doing things out in the field, and you don't 100% feel a part of it, which makes sense. And this is just showing that, I mean, is it risky? Sure. But, was Juan Soto the best in right field last year? No, because sometimes
I would argue Stanton has better right field instincts than Juan Soto. And now he doesn't run the same way, but he has reads that can get him to certain baseballs that maybe Soto would misread. So I think Giancarlo Stanton in right field, given that it helps him think the game, as you're talking about, it's a good plan. And I think Giancarlo Stanton, who came up, when he was a kid, he was a football player too. Like, he's a guy who likes being in it. Yeah, he said this before. He likes being in the game. So if that means you're going to get even more offensive production from him, I tip my cap to him that he's made it work as a DH, and he's still a productive player as a DH. He did the entire postseason last year, that entire mammoth run as a DH. But it seems we get a new gear from Stanton offensively when he's in the game in right field.
I know this is probably a hard gauge to get within the organization, but I'm wondering if you've gotten it yet. Right now, it to some people, I guess, on the outside of the organization, it could feel like the Yankees are an 6-8 football team coming towards the end of the season, where if they get to 500 and they make the postseason, the coach's job is saved. And if they miss the postseason, he's out. Please make my day and tell me it's the same way in Yankee land, because I'll take a missed postseason berth for Boone to be gone. I honestly will. I don't know what your relationship with Boone is like. I don't want to put you in an uncomfortable spot, but is that the case in Yankee land? Or do you think there's just zero shot Boone can keep paying the mortgage on his house because he's staying?
No, I appreciate you saying that. And I think Aaron Boone, for some of the shortcomings with this team and the midseason slumps, he will get a little unfairly criticized from time to time because he's the manager. And when the team struggles, he's going to get some slings and arrows. But I wouldn't say he's totally safe if they miss a postseason. I would not say that. I think the organization will look at the way the season started, 42 and 25, sweeping Kansas City, going to Fenway Park on June 13th. Friday the 13th, kind of an ominous day in the season. They get swept by Boston, and since then they've been a 10 games under 500 baseball team for an extended period of time. And it's not like they lack for talent. 2023 was different. I don't want to hear the comparison. You know, you look up and down that lineup, there was not the same talent in the 2023 lineup that exists within this baseball team. And I get Garrett Cole's out for the year. I get Clark Schmidt's out for the year. You have enough starting pitching, and you have a dynamic bullpen. There should be no excuse not to make the postseason. And I think that's the way the organization looks at this. I'm not going to guarantee you that a change will be made if they miss a postseason, but that will be in consideration. Like, more so than recent years, if they miss the postseason altogether in an expanded playoff format with this amount of talent, with the moves they made at the trade deadline, that's going to raise some eyebrows. I don't think they're going to miss the postseason, but if it happens, I think it will be a conversation.
The thing is, if they make it and they're out in the wild card round, it ensures his job is safe.
Oh, yeah. So
to me, it's almost, I think me and Stacey kind of agree on this. It's almost like a catch-22. Like, I'd almost, as a Yankee fan, I don't think they're winning the World Series. Honestly, I think that there's teams behind them. I think Texas is better than them. So right now, like, Texas is a more scary postseason opponent than the Yankees.
Interesting thought, because I look around, I would agree with you. There's no evidence right now they're a World Series team. Like, I can't confidently say to you, oh, this is a World Series team. They got to go out and prove that. But this throughout baseball, and the Yankees, we talk about it more because we're in it and we're diehard fans and and we've seen this year after year with the midseason slump. Around baseball this year, it's actually staggering how many teams have blown big divisions.
Look at the Dodgers.
The Dodgers blew a 9-game lead. The Tigers haven't blown the lead yet, but they had a 15-game lead. And what is it, down to 5 games right now?
Yeah, and then the Brewers pulled so far ahead of the Cubs. The Cubs lost again, I think, today.
You know what's funny about the Brewers? We thought they were. Yeah, it's funny to say that after 3 games, but the Yankees ran them out of the ballpark.
We spoke about that on the show the other day. I said, wouldn't it be hilarious if after that, starting off the season with that kind of a series where they just got curb stomped? Is that the way to say? They got killed,
and they are the best team in baseball right
now.
And remember the torpedo bats dialogue? Like, are the Yankees going to hit 5 home runs a game for the rest of the season? Now it doesn't look like the Yankees are on the same tier as the Milwaukee Brewers. So the parity in the game has never been this high, which is why I would say, like they could be one and done. But would it shock me if they snuck in and went on a run? It would not shock me at all.
That's interesting. I like that. I like that take. Let me get you one more, and then we're gonna go to some rapid fire. Stacey's got some rapid fire fun ones for you. I hear you on the post game every day, and you have this little segment back and forth with Susan where you guys go back and forth and you talk. And she's in a really good spot in her career because she can have the not care attitude and say whatever she feels like saying. What are you gonna do? You gonna get rid of me? I've been here for 100 years. You gonna get rid of me? Go ahead. Right. So she's very down on the team, and she makes it very obvious, and she has no problem saying that. And it's way different than a lot of people who cover a professional team would treat it. I don't even think you would necessarily, and you're an honest guy on the radio, don't get me wrong. I don't even think you'd be that critical of them because you don't want someone in the upper brass hearing you say that. When it comes to Susan and how critical she is she worse or lighter off the air when it comes to talking about the team? When you walk into the building and you see Susan and say hello to her, is she just down and out of it completely? Like how is her take on the team compared to on the air?
The one thing that makes Susan so good at what she does is she understands that baseball is a really long season. Every game is its own entity. So if you hear criticism, first of all, I would say any criticism she makes, she'll tag with something that makes it very fair. And she'll also tag it by saying, hey, look, like this can it turn? Like those type of things. I'm not quoting her directly, but she will find a way to make that comment. Yeah, like you may take it as she's down on the team, but she also fully understands, will say every day, like there is time to get this right. It's a long year. Baseball, you can't make definitive statements in baseball. Changes too quickly is one of her best lines, and it rings true about every team. The parity we're talking about throughout the league. So I think what you get with Susan off the air is what you get on the air. You're getting an honest perspective on the team and also a perspective of somebody who is in it, knows what's going on, talks to the players, understands what the players are going through. So if I want to make a comment on, if she knows something's going on with Mark Leiter Jr., let's say, and he's been overused, and somebody wants to say, oh, Mark Leiter Jr. just stinks. He stinks. Just never use him again. I'm not saying he does. I'm saying it as an example. Mm-hmm. She knows what's going on with Mark Leiter Jr. So she will be more, I'm not sure if sympathetic is the right word, but if he's just getting used every day and then the left side of the infield is letting all of his ground balls hit to the left side of the infield get through, it's not a fair criticism of Mark Leiter Jr. All of her criticism, I think, is fair, backed up, and she also understands every day is a new day, and it doesn't let her affect the energy at the beginning of that broadcast and the optimism of the Yankees can turn this around starting today. So I think it's very consistent on air, off air with what you get.
Do you ever wish managing your money felt easier? Well, with Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning for a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over all of your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. And everything being in one app makes it so simple, right? You can track your subscriptions, anything you're possibly looking forward to or anything. It's all available in that one app, which is what makes it so perfect and so easy and everything. You can also track it with people too. So you can, if you're having a joint account, you're doing things together, you're saving up for a big moment, you guys can track that together with Monarch. So they make it so easy. It's so simple. It's so fast to work. You gotta invest in this and look forward to it. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. You can use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. Stacey, I got to ask one more. Sorry. He got something in my head when I was thinking about it. Me and you started hosting at the same time at WFAN.
Right.
And one of the things that me and you got to bond over a lot, along many things, is the haters and how people they'll slide into your DMs constantly, give you phone calls, all that kind of stuff. Has it been better? Because you've been doing a lot less talk shows now that you're doing the Yankees full time. Has it been better, or like what is the hater element like? I know you're good at ignoring it, but how is that? How is that with the post game?
A really good question. I would say I get less doing post game as opposed to a talk show. I still do talk shows, like if it's a rain delay or sometimes leading into a game. Like I've still done a few talk shows this year.
It's just less than you used to.
Less than I used to, and less maybe like if you listen to me a few years ago before like I'm on the Yankee broadcast now, it's a little bit more free flowing. Like I'll talk about anything. I'll have a fan's take as opposed to, the Yankee broadcasting. It's a little bit different. You're a little bit more nuanced in the way you present your opinion, if you have an opinion. So I would say like my X mentions are a little less crazy than they used to be. I still get DMs. I'm sure Reddit still has, Reddit's a very interesting place. And
stay off there.
I read Reddit. It's funny. I read Reddit. Yeah. I read Reddit once and then I never returned because I'm like, yeah, there are always people who like you in any place, but it got bad in some sort of context. So I'm sure still stuff like that is still out there. I just don't think it's productive to like you have a job to do every day. I gotta deliver the best post game I can. I hope that somebody who's driving home from the game can relive it the best they can, or if somebody who didn't listen to the game hopped in the car and turned me on, they could get caught up and speak about the game as knowledgeably as somebody who did watch the game. So I'm trying to toe that line and appeal to both of those possible listeners. And I'm trying to get better at that every day. So there's no time to worry about, this guy thinks I stink. Like, yeah, a lot of people think I stink. I think I stink sometimes. Like, and that's why you get better every day. Like if you waste your time, sifting through that stuff, I think that's like valuable time wasted out of your day. So those people have a right to their opinion, and I respect it, and I like feedback. But some of it's constructive, some of it's not. And I would say it's a little toned down as opposed to a talk show. Like if I had a talk show and I said, the Mets, Francisco Lindor really needs to improve. I get a million people saying, you hate Lindor, you hate the Mets. It's like, no, I don't. I'm just telling you a fact. So it's a little toned down as opposed to that, but it still exists for sure.
Not much room for improvement, though. Don't be too hard on yourself. Right?
Yeah. The thing that you said about, if people don't watch the game, you want to be able to tell them what happened. Brian and I have actually come out on the show and said, we know it's hard watching this team every day. We have to for our jobs. And if you don't want to, just tune into us and we'll tell you everything that's going on if you don't want to sit through the games. It's
worked because through a horrible season, our viewership's been up a lot. So it's worked.
I like that. And I really feel, look, we're talking about time in terms of reading social media reactions. And so time is valuable. Like people prioritize, people have lives, people have families, people have jobs. Like you can't always watch a full Yankee game. Even the most diehard Yankee fan, I wouldn't exclude Yankee fans who don't catch every single pitch of every single game. There could be a diehard that just doesn't have time for it. So if tuning into your podcast and clicking on it in the morning after a game is their way to catch up, or catching the podcast of what I do is a way to catch up, like by all means. And we have to appeal to both. So I think that's one of the ways I grade myself is like, all right, you don't want to beat people over the head that just listen to the game or just sat through the game and are riding home from Yankee Stadium. Like, is this too much? Like, am I saying too much in terms of detail? But also, I don't want to give too little detail for the person that is catching up. And I want them to have a snapshot of everything that happened. And if somebody brings it up at work and they're like, I have this opinion, from listening to my post game or your podcast, like they could have an opinion too, even having not watched the game.
Good stuff. Stacey's got some rapid fire for you. Quick answers. Stacey, hit him with it.
Cool.
What is your favorite thing about traveling and your least favorite thing about traveling?
Wow. My favorite thing about traveling is knowing I'm going to see a new place and experiencing something new. I like to hit different spots, different food spots, coffee spots in every city I go to. I like flying. I generally I'm not scared of it. Like I enjoy the views of flying. So that's my favorite part of traveling and experiencing cool things. My least favorite part of traveling is knowing at a certain point, it's like, all right, I want to get home, and knowing what's on the other side. Like I don't like packing. And I know when I get home, I'm going to have dry cleaning to do and wash to do, a load of laundry to do. And there's going to be a list of things that would be more so than if I just stayed home. So, yeah, you got to travel. Like, you love to travel. But I would say my least favorite is knowing what's on the other side, getting home. You're looking forward to getting home, but not all the to-do list that comes with it.
Your favorite city, not necessarily ballpark, because I believe we touched upon the ballpark the last time you were on.
Yeah, great question. I would say...
My guess is Seattle.
You nailed it. I just had to think for a moment because there are a few that I really love and I didn't want to leave one out. I do love Pittsburgh too, but Seattle in terms of not just the ballpark, which is phenomenal.
It's the coffee.
The coffee.
I was going to say it's the coffee, right?
I'm at the Starbucks Reserve Roastery. I'm trying out all this different. It's amazing. Like, if for a coffee lover, a nice coffee lover, that's heaven for me. Then you go to the Pike Place Market. You can walk around, see the sights. Like, Seattle is everything I need. And the weather, like, people knock Seattle weather, but I like some consistency. Like, I like the fact that it's sort of I understand it changes.
That's a hot take.
Yeah, right.
I like Seattle weather. Like,
yeah, I've got to I'm okay with the Seattle weather. Like, what's wrong with it?
What's your favorite kind of food to get in road cities? Let's do top 3. Like, name your top 3 favorite foods from your top 3 favorite cities.
Wow. I don't even think I can rank them because I'm such a simple food guy. Where you're going to find me eating a lot of sides. You're going to find me eating a lot of, a basic like burger or sandwich, like whatever the most American food on the menu, chicken tenders, you're going to see me ordering it. So there's not really a list or a rank, but I will say when we go to Kansas City,
I was going to ask,
Joe's barbecue. And it's not like you have it a lot. So you look forward to it. You look forward to relishing that barbecue experience and some classic Joe's barbecue. So that's top. And then everything else is secondary because you could have a great meal somewhere else, but it's typically going to be the Emmanuel boring, what's the classic thing on the menu type of item.
My brother was in Texas last week and he went to 2 of the games against the Yankees and then whoever they played on the weekend. I can't remember who they played, but he kept sending me pictures of the barbecue food that he was eating and it was making me really angry.
I love how the barbecue changes in city to city too. Because like St. Louis that they're in this weekend, the barbecue, the ribs in St. Louis, the giant ribs, they're absolutely fantastic. Have you done that ballpark in Texas, by the way? Have you seen the new one yet?
I haven't. I actually haven't been there, and I know the broadcast booth is super high.
Yeah,
that's what I've heard. That's what I've heard from people who have just been there, and
it's like National Park.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe National Park is the only one that could beat it. National Park is you're up in the clouds, but I haven't been there. I'm looking forward to the first time because it seems like they did a lot of good things with it, but the broadcast booth clearly they saved that for last.
You've been absolutely great. Thank you for giving us time here and giving us some insight on what it's like within the organization, because we've been killing Boone and we've been killing the team as much as really possible. We really have. But getting some insight from you, and I think you maybe calmed us and our listeners down a little bit with everything too. So we really appreciate you, Emmanuel.
Of course, we kept it real here, but I hope that we can all come out of this thinking, hey, hit the road trip, have a decent road trip, come home, big 4 games with Boston next weekend. I'm sure the sky's either going to be falling or we're going to be like the Yankees are back after next weekend. So I'm really looking forward to that series with Boston, but work to do before then.
For sure.
Thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. You get local analysis on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And you will hear Brian on the Sunday edition of MLB Game Night. So that'll do it for this episode of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll catch you guys next week.